I'm going to go through a live onboarding review. And as I mentioned, Mansoor was brave enough to suggest EasyNote. And I know that they've just released a new version of EasyNote as well. So I'm just going to stop the presentation and jump into the onboarding. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not going to look at the website and the pricing page. However, Helen, my co-founder, has gone through that. And I've got some notes in the slides, which I'm more than happy to share with you after the event, so you could read the summary of this. So first of all, I'm on the, let me just check to see if you still can follow. Okay, yeah, we're still here. I've gone to the onboarding URL, and I'm going to put in my work email. I'm just going to double check it's right. So I really like this. It's very simple. It's just asking me for my email address, which is great. So I'm going to click sign me up. Okay, let's have you on board. Okay, so I'll put in my full name. And as I mentioned before, we can see that there's a minimum of 8 characters. So if I typed in 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to give me an error message down here. So I'm going to change the password to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to call the team name. I'm just going to keep it as Mark's team. And I'm just going to change that to color. Again, I'm not sure why I'm doing this just yet, but I'm going to just change it to a color. I'm just going to do this. Okay, so as you can see now, EasyNote is asking me some questions about who I am and what I'm going to be using EasyNote for. So this is a really good start to an onboarding process. So I am going to make this up as I go along, but I'm going to say it's for work. Which of the following describes you best? So I'm a business owner. How large is my team? 11 to 15. What is your company size? See, this is a bit odd because it's got my team, and then it wants the total company size. So again, this seems like a simple question, but it even confused me a little bit because I thought I'd answered that question. And as the product managers and as you design these products, you might think that that's quite simple. And it might just be me making a stupid mistake, but users will make stupid mistakes. And we often say design the onboarding process for the dumbest person in the room or the slowest hiker is probably a nicer way to say it. But I'm going to put in my company size as 100 to 250. What is the main thing you want to manage? I'm going to say sales and CRM because that's an area that I know. How can we contact you? I'm not sure I want to be contacted. So I'm just going to click next. Now, invite people to your team. So this is an example of perhaps an objective of EasyNote is to get me to share the access to it with my team, but I'm just doing a free trial at the moment. I'm really just here to click around and have a look. So it's probably not the right time to ask me to invite my team members, because if I do, I don't actually know what I'm inviting them to just yet. So I'm going to ignore it for now and say I'll do it later. So looking at this big modal here, this is a really another good step in this first run experience now, because it's helping me understand that there are some templates, and hopefully will shorten the learning curve that I go through to use the product. So the one thing I would say is, from a design point of view, it probably needs a bit of an overlay here, just so I can read this text. It's a little bit hard for me to read. But we have created templates so you can get started working with EasyNote instantly. And so you don't need to lose time. Okay, I think the micro copy in products can be very powerful. I think there's probably a little bit of work that could be done on this one. And by the way, a lot of the feedback that we get from the customers at the product onboarders is that our advice is very sobering, and we definitely mean it to come across as very honest and very unbiased, but sometimes it can come across a bit blunt. So Mansoor, sorry, I should have probably given that caveat before I started, but I'm not meaning to be mean or blunt, but I am trying to tell you or trying to give this experience, the review, as honestly as I can. Now, if you remember, I went through the onboarding process and said that I was interested in sales and CRM. And actually, I thought I was given that information so that the onboarding experience could be personalized. Because the product has that information, then really you could just show me sales, because that's the template that I said I was interested in, or that's what I wanted to manage. So these recommendations for me aren't actually recommendations for me. because I said that I was interested in sales. So just maybe something to consider. If you're asking for information, make sure you use that information within the onboarding process. But a monthly sales plan looks like a great idea. And again, going back to one of the onboarding mistakes I mentioned is that to use templates to show people the value, this is a really good example of a product doing so. So I'm going to click on monthly sales plan. Okay, that's nice. Okay, there's a lot going on. Welcome on board, Mark Colgan. Okay, so they're using my name here. So I've got a welcome. We are super excited that you're here. I hope you'll enjoy using these notes. So before you get started, let's take this 1 minute tour. Which one? So this is the, I'll take 1 minute tour. Okay, so I'm going to click. So you can see here, right, I'm a user. I've just come in. I want to get started. And I've got a video. I've got an opportunity to book a 30-minute free personal onboarding. And I've got a 1 minute tour. But there's so many things that I'm being asked to do. So I would probably ask myself, is there one thing that would be better for me to do as a new user? That might be the minute tour. The video is a nice touch, but I'm not sure it's really necessary at this point because there are so many things you're asking me to do. I can also see that whilst the design looks very nice and clean, there is something here that's catching my attention, something up here. I've got this down here as well. So there's just a lot to visually take in at this stage. But for the purpose of this review, I'll take the 1 minute tour. Okay, so now we can see that I've got tooltips guiding me through the product. So this is really, really good. So create your first task. It's super simple to create a new task. Let's try to add a new one. So to try to add a new one. Again, the micro copy is very, very important when it comes to the product because it helps with the reputation and the credibility. If I see lots of spelling mistakes in the product, I often don't feel too confident in the rest of the product. So make sure that when you are looking at your copy, you've got somebody checking over it. And again, that's why I teamed up with Helen, who's a copywriter, because she's got a really eagle eye for things like this. So I'm going to click Add Task. Cool. So I clicked Add Task, and I know as let's say a sophisticated user of SaaS products that it wants me to type in a task name, but it's not actually telling me that. And again, it goes back to keeping it as simple as possible and explaining it for the most simple person. So I'm going to type in test task. Oh, if I can spell. Okay. I can't see any save button. I can't see any enter, but I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so I've done that. Okay, so there's a little bit of a delay with the tooltip. So you are great at this, Mark Colgan. Let's invite some people to your team and project. Again, I feel this is a little bit too early. I'm not sure I'd want to invite somebody just yet because I haven't customized it to make it relevant to my business. And if I'm the key person leading the project of looking for a new software, then there might not be other people on my team that I want to share this with just yet. So perhaps the inviting some colleagues to your team could be suggested later in my journey. But for the purpose of this, I'll go through it. So send an invite to your colleague, to invite a friend or colleague or collage. Simply enter their email and hit invite. So again, just double check the spelling. It's really hard to see all of these things when you're the person designing it and putting it together. I know from my own experience of working with product managers and also designing websites, it's really hard to spot this. But what we typically say to our customers is to give the onboarding or like give a version to somebody who doesn't know your business and ask them to look through it. It could be a peer that you have in a different company that understands SaaS, but they could help kind of spot things like this. Enter email to invite to Mark's team. So just type in, so I'm going to invite Helen. Okay, do I want to give access to the project? I think so. Okay, we can invite. Invitation sent successfully to Helen. Okay, right. So it's going to take me to the next part of the tool. So I do like the tool so far. Let's show you widgets. Okay, widgets are like columns in Excel. You can add unlimited of those in your project and rename them to anything you would like to. So again, just double check the English there. I won't mention this again for the purpose of this review. So widgets are like columns in Excel. Right, this is a monthly sales plan. So again, I'm trying to think about what I'm setting this up for. So What have I got so far? I've got sales, action, stage, deal size. I've got phone. Okay, what? Maybe in this tour it should ask me. It should suggest which widget to add in. But I'm going to add in a rating right now. Where did that go? So you can see that I clicked over here, roughly here, and it added the column to the right. So maybe it should scroll to the right so I can see the rating. But I can see the widgets gone in there. That's good. It works really, really well. So one last thing, Mark, there is only a final step, and that is to make a search. Okay. What am I searching for? So is this the most valuable thing that a new user could be doing in the onboarding process? I would probably think if I'm creating a sales plan or creating a sort of a CRM, I might want to import some data. So that would probably be a good action point, because I don't know what I'm searching for just yet, because this is all demo data. So I'll put in lead. Okay. Lead 5. Okay, so I can see there's this extra window now, which I didn't know about at all. But now what? That's what I'm left thinking. What should I do now? Okay, I'm going to close this. So you see that now I've ended the 1-minute tour, but I still don't feel like I've fully understood what the platform is and what the product can do for me. So I'm left kind of wondering what else to do. So obviously as a user, I can click around. There's a few things that are jumping out to me. So I can see that there's a Kanban view, an easy view. So I'm going to click on Kanban. Let's add a status widget. That's fine. Not started, ongoing, complete. Okay, so let's go to easy view. So where were those? What was the? Okay, so I've now got status. That wasn't there before, but I guess that's what it told me to do. So let's change the status to ongoing. I'm going to change another one to complete just to see what it looks like in Kanban. Cool. Okay, so I can see that it has the Kanban. That looks good. Another thing on the left-hand side, now I can see that there's icons down here, but as a user for the first time, I don't know what this icon means, and I don't know what this icon means. So what we typically suggest is actually to expand the left-hand navigation so people can see what each of these things mean. Because again, you've designed the product, you know it inside and out, and you know what these icons represent, but a new user wouldn't necessarily know that. Okay, so if we can activity, and I can see show only new activities. Okay, cool, close that. Contacts. Let's get started with contacts. You can either create a contact, or I can import. Okay, this is good. So perhaps this could have been a good first step for me, is to import some contacts. So I can see the product with my data. I can see the contact with the platform with my information in here. Now, let's say I want to have a look at a different template. It's not obvious to me where I go to create a new project, because this is just the sales and CRM. Just close that down. This is the sales one, but let's say I'm moving to a new office, so I want to use EasyNote to create a different type of project. I would expect there to be like a big new project button on here somewhere. However, there's this tiny little button, the button down here that I have to click on, and then click on new project, and it takes you back to templates, which is really cool. I like the fact that we've got templates here, and I'm going to go office management, create. Okay, that's cool, little animation. And it's taking me back now to the contacts where I was previously at. So really, it should take me to this part, which shows me the office management, which is the template I clicked on. But again, I can see the product. I remember that I can add a task. I can add a widget, I believe here. Yep, widget. Let me just assign it to somebody. And again, that's gone over to the right-hand side. And maybe it's Helen that I want to invite. Oh, I can't, because she probably hasn't activated her account yet. Project manager in here. Okay. Cool. So, overall, I think the design of this product is fantastic. It's just not very clear in terms of how I get to experience the value of the product straight away. I think rethinking the tour to help people understand how they go about actually adding in things that matter to them. And again, when I added in tasks, it wasn't clear if I would just hit enter to save it. So maybe from a design point of view, have something which is a little bit more obvious. The last thing I like to do is have a look at kind of like the settings. I can see here that I've got my settings. So I'm just going to take a look at this. Okay, so all right, this is a lot to take in, this modal. It knows where I am, interesting. Select the projects, your team. I've sent that, okay. Account type, 20 premium seats, cool. And I assume I can just change my personal information here. So interestingly, throughout the tour, you've been calling me Mark Colgan, which is my full name, which feels quite formal when going through a product tour. So if you just select the first name as a merge field to pull through to the tour, that would be a good idea. And I can see the rest of the settings here. So I'll pause here. We've got plenty of time for Q&A. And once again, Munzir, thank you for being brave enough to let me go through your product.